Why does God allow so much pain and suffering? If you've ever asked that question, well, you're not alone. Often, in the midst of a very painful experience, many Christians will want to know, right? Why would an all-powerful and loving God allow me to go through such a terrible experience? Well, today we are going to dive into that tough question. And by the end of the video, I think you're going to have some answers that will bring clarity and hope. Hey, I'm Martin Johnson from the Down to Earth Christian. And before we jump into our topic today, I just want to let you know that we have a free chronological Bible reading schedule to guide you through the entire Bible in 1 year. And it helps you see God's plan unfold and gives context to the difficult questions like the one that we're tackling today. So you can download that. It's free. There's a link down in the description below, or you can scan the QR code that is on the screen here and start today. Let's jump into today's topic. Right? Going through emotional or physical pain is never fun. But we all know that it happens from time to time. And if we haven't experienced it yet, we will likely experience it in the future. Sometimes when we're going through something like that, we ask ourselves, why does God allow this to happen to me? And so today I want to share with you 5 reasons why pain and suffering exists in the world and why we sometimes experience it. The first thing that we need to understand is that God gave humanity free will. This means we're not robots. We have the freedom to choose what we do, and with that freedom comes responsibility and consequences. Yes, God is love, but without free will, that love would be meaningless. So with that being true, with us having free will and the ability to choose what we do, sometimes the suffering we experience is a direct result of our bad decisions. If I choose to drink alcohol and drive my car and I crash it into a telephone pole, I will suffer because of my bad decision. I will likely be physically injured, go to jail, and lose my driver's license. But that's not God's fault. No, that's my own poor decision. God doesn't cause the bad choices, but He can use the consequences to teach us important lessons. Other times we suffer because of someone else's bad choices. Imagine a family losing a loved one because someone else decided to drink and drive. In a moment like that, it's crucial to remember that the pain we're feeling is a result of human choice, of somebody's bad choice. It's not God's design. Another reason that we often suffer is because of the natural laws that govern our world. Let me show you what I mean. Gravity is a natural law that keeps our feet on the ground. We benefit from gravity all the time. I mean, could you imagine just like floating up into outer space? Without God-given gravity, life on Earth would be impossible. However, that also means that if you're standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon, trying to get the perfect selfie and happen to stumble backwards, gravity will still be in effect, and we will likely fall to our death. Gravity, it doesn't stop for selfies, no matter how good the picture is. Well, what about weather and natural disasters? Weather events and natural disasters are also sometimes the source of suffering in our lives. We all benefit from the weather cycle, right? The rain waters our crops and they grow. The sun comes out and it warms us and our crops grow. However, when we build our house in a floodplain, maybe along the Gulf Coast or in the foothills of the California mountains, we might expect to suffer floods, hurricanes, and wildfires. These events are normal and natural, and they're really only called disasters because humans happen to be there when they happen. God designed a world of balance, but when we build in high-risk areas, we face the consequences of that balance. And so if you're finding this video helpful so far, would you mind giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with your friends? This really helps us reach more people on YouTube with God's Word. And now let's jump back into another reason why we might suffer. Sometimes we suffer because of the choices of past generations. Let me illustrate. In the past, people did not know that asbestos would cause cancer. And so we mined it and we used it for insulation all over the place. But come to find out many years later, asbestos is not good for you. It causes cancer and people suffer because of the decisions, the innocent decisions sometimes, of past generations. And so the choices that we make today can echo far into the future for better or for worse. And this should remind us, right? This should remind us to think about the choices that we make today because they can have a great impact on generations to come. Now, this is a bonus for us all. Let me share with you one more thing about the problem of pain and suffering, and that is that not all pain and suffering is bad. Sometimes it's extremely beneficial. I mean, could you imagine living your life without the ability to feel pain? Some people actually suffer from this condition, and it is terrible. I remember when I was a little kid, I reached up onto my dad's workbench and I grabbed the hot end of a soldering iron. Oh man, I let go of that thing so fast. Thankfully, God gave me the ability to feel pain. I had a blister across the palm of my hand from grabbing that soldering iron, but imagine the permanent damage I could have done to my hand if I couldn't feel the pain. I learned a very valuable lesson from that very painful experience. Pain and suffering that often teaches us very valuable lessons and makes us wiser and stronger. And it's also true that because we know what pain and suffering feels like, we often don't want to do something to somebody else that is going to cause them to feel that pain and suffering. I don't want to get too philosophical with you on this, but when life stinks, we often look forward to when life stops stinking. And I think this is one of the reasons why God allows us to feel pain and suffering, so that we will look forward to the time when He wipes away every tear. The pain and suffering of this life is only temporary if we will submit ourselves to the will of God. If you would like to spend eternity in heaven with God and avoid eternal pain and suffering in hell, well, we have got a video right over here that I think you are going to love. I will see you over in that video in just a second.